With the holiday season upon us, I expect that we'll be seeing some new players joining the Helldivers 2 community. And if you're new, then one of the most overwhelming aspects of Helldivers 2 is going to be the Warbonds. So what is a Warbond? Well, the best comparison would be a battle pass in other games. But there are some key differences between Warbonds and battle passes and some things that you should know first. Warbonds never expire. There is no FOMO when it comes to buying and progressing Warbonds. When you buy a Warbond, you own it forever and you can progress it at any time. Warbonds are purchased with super credits. Super credits can be found in missions or purchased from the in-game store, and you can earn every Warbond without spending any money. You can only progress Warbonds by playing the game and earning medals. So you can buy Warbonds with real money if you want to, but the items themselves are only earned through gameplay. There are two types of Warbonds: Premium Warbonds and Legendary Warbonds. Premium Warbonds cost 1,000 super credits and let you earn 300 super credits back by progressing them. Legendary Warbonds cost 1,500 super credits and don't contain any super credits that you can earn. So far, Legendary Warbonds have only been used for crossover content. Warbonds are essential to progression in Helldivers 2. The vast majority of new items come from Warbonds, and there are a ton of Warbonds now, so you'll want to think carefully about which Warbonds to get first. So sit back and relax, because today we're going to briefly discuss each Warbond, and I'll tell you if I recommend it to new players. If you want information on a specific Warbond, then you can use the chapters to skip to that exact Warbond in this video, or if you want a deep dive on each Warbond, then check out my playlist for Warbond reviews. The link will be in the description. So let's get started at the beginning with Steeled Veterans. Steeled Veterans was released alongside Helldivers 2. It's the first Warbond, and it has a lot of items. You get 5 weapons and 3 armor sets, along with plenty of different cosmetics. Some of the most beloved weapons in the game come from this Warbond. Weapons like the Jar 5 Dominator and the P4 Senator. I myself love the Senator. It's one of my favorite secondaries in the whole game, and the Dominator is really good for a medium pen primary. And there's also a lot of other classics like the Liberator Concussive, Breaker Incendiary, and the Incendiary Grenades. All of these weapons can be useful in one way or another, and you get a ton of variety from buying Steeled Veterans. This is one of the best Warbonds for just kind of buffing up your armory. This Warbond also comes with the Flexible Reinforcement Budget Booster, which honestly sucks. This booster makes it so that your reinforcements regenerate faster when you don't have any reinforcements left, which means that you are kind of relying on failure for this booster to even take effect. Picking this booster at the start of a mission means that you are expecting to run out of lives, when you should bring a booster that should help you survive and complete the mission instead, in my opinion at least. Each Warbond typically features a unique armor passive on all of its armor sets, and the armor passive in Steeled Veterans isn't anything crazy. You get some extra throwing distance and some more health on your limbs. So it's not bad, but it's not great either. And it does fit very well with the armor sets and the themes of this Warbond, because all of the armor sets have robotic limbs. It's pretty cool that they decided to tie those two things together. So if you're a new player and you're looking for a big expansion to your arsenal, then yes, I can recommend Steeled Veterans to new players. You won't get anything super unique, but you do get an insane value for your credits, so definitely consider buying this Warbond. The second Warbond is called Cutting Edge. Cutting Edge comes with some interesting items, but they are far more niche, especially the armor passive, which gives you a 95% damage resistance against electricity, which can be a very useful passive, but only in a handful of situations. There has to actually be electricity damage present on the battlefield for this to have any effect at all. The weapons can vary in terms of effectiveness, but one weapon that I can absolutely recommend is the Punisher Plasma. It's great for taking out groups of smaller enemies and medium enemies too. Plus, it's just super fun to use. If you're a fan of the EPG or perhaps the Cold War from Titanfall, then you're definitely gonna like this weapon. You also get the sickle, the blitzer, and the dagger, all of which are fun weapons, and they do have something new to bring to the table, but they will vary in effectiveness depending on what enemies you're fighting, and a lot of it comes down to personal preference. The blitzer especially is pretty unique. It's like a short-range kind of electric shotgun, which is very good against melee enemies, but not good against enemies that have any kind of range really. And the booster in this Warbond is pretty underrated in my opinion. You can check out my video on Cutting Edge to learn more about the booster and how encounters work overall in Helldivers 2. There's some good information in there. Overall, I wouldn't say that this is the best Warbond for beginners, but you could do a lot worse. There are some really good items in here that some people tend to overlook, but there are definitely more important Warbonds to get at the same time. So I half-heartedly recommend this to new players, but you should take a look elsewhere first. The third Warbond is called Democratic Detonation, and even if you're a new player, you've probably heard of this Warbond before, because people always recommend it to new players, and for good reason. This Warbond comes with a bunch of game-changing items that will open up new tactical opportunities for you, and possibly your team too. The explosive crossbow and the eruptor are both long-range explosive weapons that you can use to blow things up from a distance, and you can understand why that's so powerful and impactful, and really opens up so many new opportunities. The grenade pistol is a great explosive sidearm, which is great for destroying simple things like bug holes, and it's not that bad against enemies either. Again, this really opens up some new opportunities for you, like, you know, you don't need to bring just frags all the time, you can bring the grenade pistol to blow things up too. And you get the thermite grenade, which can burn through nearly anything in Helldivers 2. You can stick it to the back of a fabricator and destroy it, you can stick it to a charger or a Hulk and run away and they will be dead within seconds. The thermite is the lazy man's solution to armor in Helldivers 2, and it does wonders for new players that need some quick, easy anti-tank equipment. And there's also the Adjudicator, which I'm pretty fond of. I like weapons that shoot big bullets, and this is one of the most fun assault rifles in the game. This Warbond also comes with the Expert Extraction Pilot booster, which simply decreases the amount of time it takes for extraction to arrive once you call it in. It's not a terrible booster, but there are of course better boosters that will give you buffs during the entire mission instead of at the very end for a few minutes. But it is very useful for an achievement that requires you to complete a mission and extract within 6 minutes, so it's great for that. The only real problem with this Warbond is that there is no unique armor passive. All of the armors in this Warbond borrow their passives from Helldivers Mobilize, which is the free Warbond. But other than that, this Warbond is totally top tier. Democratic Detonation comes with some of the best gear in the game for beginners and veterans alike. These are things that you will want to have in your arsenal. Trust me. So yes, I absolutely recommend Democratic Detonation to new players. It is one of the best Warbonds in the game, without a doubt. The fourth Warbond is called Polar Patriots, and I consider Polar Patriots to be somewhat similar to Steeled Veterans. There's no strong, cohesive theme to all of the items, and it's more like a variety pack. You get some pretty cool weapons like the Tenderizer, Purifier, Verdict, and the Incendiary Impact Grenade, as well as the Pummeler SMG, so that's already 5 weapons, a pretty nice selection already. And if you're okay with light armor penetration, then the Tenderizer is a great assault rifle, and you can make it function just like the battle rifle from Halo, just in case you need an extra Halo item. The Verdict is a pretty badass pistol. It fires massive rounds, and it penetrates medium armor. It is very satisfying to use, and it's kind of a classic in my opinion. The Purifier is a great plasma weapon. You can rapid fire it really fast if you have the trigger finger for it, or you can charge up each shot for a devastating effect. The Incendiary Impact Grenade is pretty self-explanatory, and the Pummeler SMG trades raw damage for the ability to stun enemies. So overall, it's a decent selection of weapons. The booster in this Warbond is actually useless. It was actually bugged for over a year, and it was giving the benefits of the booster to the enemies in the game. and the bonus you get out of it isn't even that good to begin with. Don't even worry about this booster. And there is not a single unique armor set in this Warbond. All of them are carbon copies of armor sets that have appeared in previous Warbonds. Visually, they may be different, and they actually don't look bad, but there is no difference gameplay-wise to previous armors you can already unlock. Overall, Polar Patriots is a pretty decent expansion to your armory, but there are definitely more important Warbonds that you should get first. This Warbond won't change your life or anything. It's more of like a little extension rather than expanding your horizons. It won't bring anything new to the dimensions of your combat. It's just kind of good to supplement your armory with, so save this one for later. The 5th Warbond is called Viper Commandos, and I actually wasn't a very big fan of Viper Commandos for a long time, but not only has this Warbond grown on me personally, it's actually been buffed considerably since it came out. The theme of this Warbond is all very fun. It's based on classic action movies like Rambo, Predator, and of course Commando. Viper Commandos has several weapons, a primary, secondary, and throwable. The Liberator Carbine is a pretty awesome primary. It's basically just a Liberator with a faster fire rate and more recoil, but once you level it up, and you get the drum magazine and a good vertical foregrip, it turns into an insanely powerful assault rifle. Definitely among the best light pen weapons in the game once you level it up. The Bushwhacker is a triple barrel break action sawed off shotgun secondary. Yeah, and it's a pretty decent secondary weapon. It's actually very good at dealing damage in close quarters, and it's also just very fun to use. It's very unique for a secondary. And then there's the armor passive, which gives you double damage for all melee attacks and increases your weapon ergonomics, making heavy weapons much easier to handle. It's not my favorite armor passive, but it also serves an important purpose in the sandbox. The best part of Viper Commandos is the booster, Experimental Infusion. This booster really buffs your stims, giving you extra movement speed and damage resistance after every stim. This is easily one of the best boosters in the game, and you'll see people taking it very often in nearly every mission if it's available. Overall, Viper Commandos is really underrated, I think, and if you want a really good primary and one of the best boosters in the game, then yes, I would recommend this to new players. People will be very happy when you can bring Experimental Infusion into a battle, and that's pretty much the main reason that you should get this as a new player, because it just helps you build a better team with your friends. The 6th Warbond is called Freedom's Flame, and if it wasn't obvious enough, Freedom's Flame focuses on one thing and one thing only, which is fire. Pretty obvious, I know. It's the first Warbond that was ever based on a single damage type, and it's pretty notable for that. You get a flamethrower for the primary and the secondary slot. These are pretty good weapons, and they add some great variety to your loadout. So you can kind of combo different support weapons and also have a flamethrower if you really want that. You also get the Cookout, which is a pump-action incendiary shotgun. It's really fun to shoot, and it's actually quite effective. And the armor passive in this Warbond simply reduces the damage you take from fire. That's it. It's nothing special, but it's useful if you're running a fire-based loadout. And then there's the Firebomb Hellpods, which is possibly the worst booster in the game. It makes every Hellpod spread fire when they land, which can kill your teammates really easily if they're trying to call in gear or a resupply. Like if they're low on health, limping away from a battle, and they desperately call in a resupply, and they don't know that you brought Firebomb Hellpods, they're probably gonna burn to death. Overall, this Warbond is actually pretty good, despite the booster, but it's also very one-note. It's a one-trick pony. If you really like playing with fire, then it's actually great. But if you want something more diverse and more generally useful, then I can't recommend this to new players. You should only get this Warbond if you already have the more essential Warbonds, or if you're gonna be literally always running a fire loadout. The 7th Warbond is called Chemical Agents. And Chemical Agents is very similar to Freedom's Flame because they both only focus on a single element. Chemical Agents is entirely themed around gas damage for the most part, Gas damage can be extremely effective in the right hands, but again, this is kind of ultra specific for a Warbond. This Warbond does have one of the best grenades in the game, which is the gas grenade. The gas grenade is exactly what you expect it to be. It spreads gas in the area that it detonates in, but it can also destroy bug holes, bot fabricators, and warp ships. So it's actually good at doing multiple things, not just killing enemies. You can also use it to clear out outposts. But the other items aren't as good in my opinion, not at all. The stim pistol is also very self-explanatory. It shoots stims that can heal your teammates, and it goes in your secondary slot. But this can be useful in some very niche situations, but honestly, you're going to be better off taking a normal secondary that actually kills something instead. There's also the sterilizer, which is essentially a gas thrower. I'm really not a big fan of this weapon, but there are some people that really like it a lot. That's good for them, but I think in general, the consensus is that this is not a good support weapon. And there's also the guard dog dog breath, which actually isn't bad, but I always would rather use the default guard dog or the new hot dog. Those will be much more effective at killing enemies in pretty much any situation. I'm not, the guard dog dog breath is actually kind of good, but it's just kind of outclassed in my opinion. The armor passive in this Warbond simply reduces the gas damage you take by 80%. That's it, no other perks. So it's an effective passive, but again, only in certain situations. There has to be gas on the battlefield for this to matter at all. Overall, this Warbond is so focused on gas that I have a hard time recommending it to new players. You don't even get like a cool gun like Freedom's Flame, so no, I definitely do not recommend this Warbond to new players. It's not that good in my opinion. The 8th Warbond is called Truth Enforcers. And Truth Enforcers might not seem that impressive on the surface. It's a bit light on weapons and content, but it comes with some really excellent weapons for players that like to play in close quarters, and it has some of the coolest looking gear in the game. The Halt and the Reprimand are both very, very good weapons in my opinion. They have medium pen, and they excel in close quarters areas. These weapons are perfect for clearing out an enemy outpost, or an objective, or just kind of holding down a close quarters area. The Loyalist is a pretty good sidearm. It's basically the pocket purifier. You can charge it up for a devastating blast, or you can rapid fire it for really high DPS. The booster in Truth Enforcers is easily the worst part. It's called Dead Sprint, and what Dead Sprint does is, so when your stamina is fully drained, you will instead use your health to sprint, which doesn't have a lot of practical applications in a mission, I don't think. I would rather just take a straight stamina booster or experimental infusion. It's one of the few boosters in the game that comes with an active downside for using it, so that is a pass from me. The armor passive in this Warbond is called Unflinching, and it's actually pretty decent. With this passive, you no longer have any aim punch. When you take damage or you get shot or whatever, your aim kind of flinches and your aim will go all over the place. This passive gets rid of that, which is a pretty awesome perk. And it also gives you some extra armor. So the light armor set will be stronger than most other light armor sets, and the medium armor will be stronger than most other medium armor sets. Pretty good. And it also allows you to place radar pings on the map, letting you get an accurate view of where the enemies are anywhere on the map. So it's a pretty damn good passive. It gives you a variety of good perks that you can use in pretty much any situation. And I have to mention that everything in this Warbond just looks cool as fuck. You won't be disappointed if you're looking for some awesome looking gear. Overall, Truth Enforcers is okay for new players. You get some great weapons, some good armor, and it's just a cool Warbond in general. There are more important Warbonds in the game, but I mean, this is actually okay for new players to get, I think. If you like the look of it, then don't feel bad about getting this one. The 9th Warbond is called Urban Legends. Urban Legends is a very interesting Warbond. It's one of the only Warbonds that doesn't come with any guns, but it comes with a bunch of stratagems and one of the first melee weapons instead. You get the anti-tank emplacement, the flame sentry, and the directional shield. The directional shield sucks, don't even think about this thing. The anti-tank emplacement is actually incredibly useful in some situations. It is by far the single best item in the game for destroying buildings and large enemies at long range. This thing is terrible in close quarter situations, but you can seriously crush some missions with this thing if you know how to use it, especially against the bots. It's really damn good. The Flame Sentry is exactly what you think it is. It's a Flame Sentry. It's pretty damn good, nothing special, but it gets the job done. And you also get the Stun Lance, a secondary melee weapon that stuns enemies, obviously. It's not bad as far as secondary melee weapons go, but I don't use it often because I would prefer to bring a solid ranged secondary, but that's just me. The booster in this Warbond is called Armed Resupply Pods, and it gives each of your resupply pods a Liberator turret that will automatically shoot enemies. It's a decent booster, it gives you some extra firepower, but the booster balance in this game is so skewed that there's still only 4 boosters that anyone actually bothers to use, and this is not one of them. The best part about this Warbond by far is the armor passive, which is called Siege Ready. This passive gives you 2 incredible perks. It increases the reload speed of primary weapons by 30%, which is a huge difference when you're in the heat of battle. The second perk increases your ammo capacity for all weapons by 20%, which again might not sound like a lot, but this is a big deal when you're actually playing the game. This passive is good for literally everyone. These perks are useful in every single mission, and I can't think of a time when these suck. I think the only time it might not be good is if you're using a heat-based primary with a secondary melee. Then it's not so good, but for anyone that actually just uses standard weapons, this thing rocks. So would I recommend Urban Legends to new players? Somewhat. The armor passive alone makes this Warbond worth it in my opinion, but I'm not sure that that makes the Warbond worth it to a brand new player. So yeah, I somewhat recommend it to new players, but there are more important Warbonds in general, but Siege Ready, man, Siege Ready will change your life. It really is that good. The 10th Warbond is called Servants of Freedom, and Servants of Freedom is one of the most useful Warbonds for a skilled Helldiver. You get some really useful and unique weapons and a really good stratagem. The double-edged sickle is essentially the sickle, but as it heats up, it will begin to deal damage to the person using it, but it also gains damage and armor penetration as it heats up. Eventually, it will reach heavy armor pen, which is just insane for an automatic primary. And since it deals fire damage, you're gonna want some armor that can resist fire damage, which unfortunately means that for this weapon to be as good as possible, you need items from Freedom's Flame or the Superstore, which is kind of unfortunate, but if you have both of these things, then you will dominate the enemies with your Dickle. The GP20 Ultimatum is one of the most useful secondaries in the game, period. It launches a single heavy projectile that can instantly kill almost any enemy in the game and destroy a massive variety of enemy buildings and objectives. If a Hulk is chasing you, you can one-shot it. If you're out of grenades, take out a fabricator with it. It is insanely good, but you need to keep finding ammo for it, so keep that in mind. You don't get a lot of ammo for it. There's also the Seeker Grenade. You throw it and it will automatically target a nearby enemy and fly directly to them, blowing up and dealing some pretty good damage. It prioritizes flying enemies like overseers and gunships, so it's great if you have some problems taking down, flying enemies. It can actually really help you out in that situation. And then there's the Portable Hell Bomb, or as some people call it, the Hell Pack. It's exactly what you think it is. You strap it to your back, arm it, and in a few seconds it will detonate, blowing everything around you to kingdom fuck. This is perfect for high-level bot missions. You can take down stratagem jammers without ever interacting with the terminal or even shutting the thing down. You can just straight up kill it with a Hell Pack. It's so good. The Hell Pack is also useful against the Illuminate. You can kill monoliths very quickly with it, and since you can't destroy the Hell Pack like you can destroy a normal Hell Bomb, you don't need to worry about Voteless mauling your Hell Bomb to death. You simply drop it off, and run away. Or if you're out of time, you can just suicide bomb it. And speaking of suicide bombers, the armor passive in this Warbond is called Integrated Explosives, and it comes with 2 perks. The first perk makes your body explode 1.5 seconds after you die, which is pretty cool, but I don't want to rely on dying for an armor passive to take effect. That's not my thing. It seems kind of counterintuitive to me. It's really cool and fun. It's a meme for sure, but it's not the best armor passive. The second perk increases your carrying capacity for grenades by 2, which is just an all-around great perk. And you get a straight boost to your firepower in each mission because, of course, you're carrying more grenades, more firepower. But the engineering kit also has this perk already, and that passive gives you a recoil reduction, so I much prefer that passive over this one in general. Plus, both armor sets in this Warbond are identical gameplay-wise. They're both medium armor sets with the exact same passive, so it's kind of a waste of metals. Overall, I would absolutely recommend this Warbond to new players, especially if you like to fight against the bots. There is some insane gear in this Warbond, and you're gonna learn a lot about the game just by using the weapons found here. Definitely consider picking this one up, but remember that the items are kind of peculiar. They require a different touch. The 11th Warbond is called Borderline Justice, and Borderline Justice is a great Warbond. It's one of my personal favorite Warbonds because I think that almost all of the gear in this Warbond is really fun and really good. The Deadeye is the only lever action rifle in the game. It deals insane damage per round with medium armor pen, making it one of the best weapons for anyone that likes to snipe enemies from long range. The Talon is one of the best secondaries in the entire game. It's a heat-based weapon, just like the Scythe, the Sickle, but it fires singular, powerful shots that can also penetrate medium armor. It's the perfect sidearm, because you can quickly swap to it, pump out some damage, and then let it cool off again in your pocket. It's pretty much free damage if you know what you're doing with it. The Dynamite Grenade is excellent at destroying buildings and objectives, and it deals some good damage too. You can program the fuse to set off at different time intervals. I think it's 5 seconds, 15 seconds, and a minute, I think. Don't quote me on that. But this allows you to actually stay in stealth and plant some bombs around an enemy base before slipping away. You can only hold 3 dynamite at a time, but they hit really hard, they have great demolition force, they have a very large radius, and they penetrate heavy armor. Definitely one of my favorite grenades in the game right now, and I bring it all the time against the bots. And there's also the Hover Pack, which is a more traditional jetpack when compared with the basic jump pack. This one lets you hover in mid-air Boba Fett style. It's a lot more useful than it may seem. You can use it to hover above melee enemies and take them out, or even find some clever positions to take advantage of, or go over walls, or it's just kind of useful and you can get creative with it. It's a really fun choice for a backpack, but it's also not for everyone. This Warbond also comes with the Sample Extricator Booster, which gives large enemies a small chance to drop common samples when they die, which is just as useful as it sounds. It's an interesting idea for a booster, but for this booster to be any good, it needs to come with a chance to drop rare samples and even super samples. Those are way more important, and many more players actually need these samples instead of commons. At least what I've noticed. I don't think that people are hurting for commons, and there are better ways to get commons than farming large enemies. The armor passive in this Warbond is all about secondary weapons. You get increased reload speed with sidearms, better weapon swap times with sidearms, and even better recoil with sidearms. It's not for everybody, but if you find yourself relying on your secondary weapons a lot, then this could be quite useful to you. Overall, Borderline Justice is very well-rounded. You get a bunch of awesome gear that is not only useful, but yes, fun to use, and that's really important to me. The theme is great, the armors look great. I think this is a really, really awesome Warbond, and it's kind of underrated. So yes, I do recommend Borderline Justice to new players. There is some gold in this Warbond if you know what you're doing with it, particularly the Talon and the Dynamite. Those two are so good. Warbond number 12 is called Masters of Ceremony, and it's actually a very cool Warbond. It's very unique in terms of the theme and the visuals, and even the items found within are all pretty unique. There's the Amendment, which is a marksman rifle that also comes with a burst fire mode, allowing you to really pump out a ton of damage against lightly armored and armorless enemies. It's pretty good. Plus it comes with a bayonet if you're ever in a situation where you need to defend yourself in close quarters. There's also the Saber melee weapon, which is very good against chaff enemies like the Voteless. It attacks quickly, which allows you to take out multiple small enemies with a few slashes. If you are into melee weapons at all, I think that the Saber is a pretty good choice. And there's also the Pyrotech Grenade, which is definitely one of the most unusual grenades in Helldivers 2. You throw it and it activates, spinning around and spreading sparks of fire to nearby enemies. The sparks don't deal any actual damage, but they can penetrate any armor in the game and they will set enemies on fire. After a short while it will explode, dealing a very small amount of damage, but again spreading fire. But the explosion has enough demolition force to destroy things like fabricators and bug holes, spawn points, that kind of thing. Plus you get 6 Pyrotech Grenades by default, and you can even carry 8 of them if you have the right armor passive. This is a pretty strange grenade, but it can be quite useful in the right scenario. And there's also the One True Flag, which is literally just a reskinned stun lance. It goes in your support weapon slot. I don't know why you'd want that. It's a total meme weapon. It's the worst support weapon by far, and it's only really meant for fucking around, or role-playing, or if you want to handicap yourself. It's useful for that niche purpose, but it's not an actually good weapon. Don't listen to the propaganda. The booster in this Warbond is called Sample Scanner, and it's basically a better version of the Sample Extricator from Borderline Justice, but they can be used together, of course. The Sample Scanner gives you a 15% chance to get an additional sample whenever you pick up any sample. This applies to all sample types. Common, rare, and even super samples can get duplicated with this booster if you're lucky. This is a decent choice for anyone that's trying to grind out a large amount of samples. Just remember that you'll be giving up a booster that will actually help you complete your mission if you want to use this. It's a big trade-off, but this can be useful for progression. The armor passive in this Warbond is called Reinforced Epaulettes, and it comes with 3 different perks. The first perk increases your reload speed with primary weapons by 30%, which is a fantastic perk, and it's half the reason that people love Siege Ready so much. It also gives you a 50% chance to resist a limb injury, which is just an all-around good perk to have. I can't think of any situation where this is a bad thing. And you also get a 50% damage increase to your melee attacks, which fits really well with the items in this Warbond because there's pretty much 3 melee weapons in here. Masters of Ceremony is a pretty decent Warbond. I like it, but I can't recommend it to new players, unfortunately. The only thing in here that new players will find really useful would be the Sample Scanner. Everything else is a bit too advanced for a fresh cadet. It's kind of a tricky Warbond to actually use all the gear in. Definitely just play the game some more and get other Warbonds before you get this one. The 13th Warbond is called Force of Law, and this is one of my favorite Warbonds just on style alone. But this is a mixed bag of items, and not all of them are very good. There's the AR-32 Pacifier, which is an assault rifle that trades raw damage for the ability to stun enemies, but it also has medium armor pen, which is pretty good. In my opinion, this weapon is just mid. It's not that good. There are worse weapons in the game, but the Pacifier just feels kind of underwhelming to use. It's not terrible, but I would much rather take something like the Liberator Penetrator or the MA5C if I wanted a medium pen assault rifle. There's also the Urchin Grenade, which is a sticky grenade that can stun enemies for a very long time. It's actually not bad if you try it. It can stun basically every enemy in the game, and it will stun them for around 14 seconds at a time. This is great if you need some breathing room away from a War Strider, or a Charger, or a Hulk, or whatever. But you could always stick them with Thermite if you bought Democratic Detonation, so most people don't even bother with the Urchin at all, even though I think it's not bad. Thankfully, the stratagems are much better than the basic weapons. like the de-escalator. This is a rotary grenade launcher that deals arc damage and stuns enemies. It can penetrate heavy armor, and it has a really good radius. This is a much better weapon for crowd control when compared to the previous two weapons, in my opinion, and it's pretty fun to use. The arcs can jump to several enemies at a time, damaging and stunning all of them, but this can also arc to your teammates, so you want to be careful. Plus, this weapon seems to be kind of bugged. It doesn't actually... well, the explosions on it don't tend to damage the person using it, so you don't need to worry about, you know, being too close quarters or whatever. It's actually not a bad weapon. And there's also the Guard Dog K9, which is essentially just an electric guard dog. It sends out bursts of electricity in the direction that it's facing. It penetrates level 3 tank armor, and if you don't know what that means it can deal damage to everything in the game. Pretty much. There's like one or two exceptions, but this can damage literally everything that you would want to damage. And of course, it can also stun too. This is a surprisingly effective guard dog, but you need to be careful because it does have a habit of killing your teammates, you know, just like cops in real life. This Warbond also comes with the Stun Pods booster. It sucks really bad. It's basically just the Firebomb Hell Pods, but with stun, like EMS fog, instead of fire. It's awful. Don't even bother with this thing. My favorite part about this Warbond, though, is the armor passive, which is called Ballistic Padding, and it comes with 3 perks. The first perk reduces your damage taken to the chest by 25%, which is just an all-around great perk to have. The second perk reduces the damage taken from explosives by 25%, which is excellent against the bots in particular, and as someone that loves to fight the bots, I always love having some explosive damage resistance. And the last perk prevents you from taking any bleed damage when your chest is injured, which again is just really, really solid. This armor passive will increase your all-around survivability by a surprising amount, and if bleeding is something that annoys you a lot in this game, then you will love this passive, straight up. Overall, Force of Law is a mixed bag, and I'm a big fan of this Warbond. I understand why other people aren't a big fan, but sadly I can't recommend it to new players. I don't think there's enough here for new players to really get involved with because a lot of the items can be somewhat niche. I do think the armor passive is really good for people that like to play bots, so there's that, but in general, go somewhere else and then come back to Force of Law later. The 14th Warbond is called Control Group, and there's a lot to talk about with this one. There's a lot of weird and strange things going on here, so it kind of needs some explaining, but it's actually pretty good stuff. There's the VG-70 variable, which is a special primary weapon that functions unlike any other weapon in Helldivers 2. The variable is a volley gun with 7 barrels, all loaded with 7 rounds each for a total of 49 rounds. You can fire it like a standard fully automatic weapon, making it function like any other assault rifle pretty much. There is another fire mode that allows you to fire 1 round out of every barrel at once, which makes it into a pretty hefty single fire weapon that's almost like a shotgun kind of, but it's very accurate and actually does quite a bit of damage. Or you can use Total Mode, which fires every single bullet at once. This will knock you flat on your ass if you fire more than, I think it's 20 rounds this way. The variable is really fun and interesting. You can actually deal tons of damage using the different modes, and you can adapt to different enemies on the fly. It takes a lot of effort to use, but it is really cool. There's also the Arc Grenade, which is simply an electric grenade that bounces around and shocks enemies, dealing damage and stunning them. So it's not bad against a group of enemies, but the big downside with this grenade is that you can't use it to destroy enemy structures like bug holes, fabricators, you know, spawn points in general. It doesn't have enough demolition force for that, so you need to bring a different method of destroying enemy spawn points, which can make this kind of undesirable at times. And there's also the Plaz 45 Epoch, and it's a plasma-based support weapon, and it's pretty neat. You can charge up each shot to deal more damage, but you also run the risk of blowing yourself up if you charge it for too long, so be careful when using the Epoch. It's just kind of like an average support weapon overall. It's not bad, but it's not, you know, incredibly overpowered either. The laser sentry is exactly what you think it is. It's a laser sentry. It has a very long lifetime when compared to other sentries, but it can also overheat and explode if it's firing for too long. So it's really good at defending against small amounts of enemies over time, like a small trickle over time, instead of dealing with a bunch of enemies at once. But it's, in general, just a good sentry, and I can recommend it. And finally, we come to the Warp Pack. The Warp Pack allows you to teleport short distances, helping you avoid damage, and it even deals damage in a small radius around the teleport destination. Like, you can actually telefrag some small enemies of this thing. It's pretty cool. However, if you teleport too much at once, you will begin taking damage and you just might implode yourself, so be careful with this item. The big thing about the Warp Pack, and this is a big deal, is that you can use it to pass through bunker doors all by yourself, which is huge for farming super credits. No longer do you need another person to help you open that door. You can drop in solo and clear an entire map if you don't have any friends to help you farm credits. And even if you do have friends to help you, this will still speed up the process because your friends don't need to walk across the map to come help you open a door. If you plan on grinding out your super credits instead of buying them, then this is the single most important item in your arsenal, and I can't stress that enough. This item helps you farm so efficiently, and it's honestly just a good backpack in general. The Warp Pack is so good, so unique, so fun, so useful, so interesting. It's incredible. The armor passive in this Warbond is very cool. It's called Adreno Defibrillator, and it comes with 3 different perks. The first perk allows you to be resurrected upon death, provided that your body is still intact. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy perk. But when you come back, you will be constantly draining health, you will be unable to sprint, and your hearing is going to be all fucked up. You're not going to last long in this state, but you might just be able to get revenge on whatever killed you, or, you know, toss away a last-second grenade to finish an objective off or something like that. It can be useful, but it's also kind of hard to use sometimes. The second perk increases your stim duration by 2 seconds, which is very helpful for when you actually get resurrected, and the last perk reduces your damage taken by arc damage by 50%, which is more of a thematic thing than anything else. It's really not that big of a deal, you know, 50% of arc damage, but it's alright. Control Group, overall though, is one of the coolest Warbonds around, and if you plan on farming all of your super credits, then yes, I absolutely recommend this to new players. That Warp Pack will do you so good. But if you plan on, you know, not really grinding or slowly gaining your credits over time or just simply buying super credits, then no, I wouldn't recommend getting Control Group that early on. Save it for later. But if you're grinding and farming, this is the Warbond for you. The 15th Warbond is called Dust Devils, and this is a really great Warbond. Just about everything in this Warbond is great. There's the Coyote, which is an assault rifle with medium armor penetration and incendiary rounds. It's really damn good. Even after the slight nerf it got, it's still one of the best assault rifles in the game. The only reason I don't use it more is because I used it so much when it came out, I kind of got tired of it. And there's also the Pineapple Grenade, which is one of my personal favorite grenades when it comes to general usage against enemies. It's pretty much just a cluster bomb on a short fuse, very useful against groups of smaller enemies. And then there's the Spear Gun, which is currently my favorite support weapon in the game, period. You load it with a single powerful shot, fire it off at an enemy where it will penetrate tank armor and explode into a cloud of gas. Come on, this thing is so goddamn powerful. It can damage pretty much anything in the entire game, confuse them with gas, deal damage over time with the gas, and it can even stagger massive enemies like Hulks and Bile Titans. Plus, it has enough demolition force to destroy enemy spawn points. The Spear Gun is simply incredible. It's so good, and I don't see enough people using this goddamn thing because it's kinda busted. And then there's the expendable Napalm, which functions just like the expendable anti-tank. You call it down, and you get 2 single-use launchers. The expendable napalm will explode into a cluster bomb of, napalm that spreads fire all over the place and deals some pretty hefty damage, enough to put most enemies in the ground immediately. If you like fire and you like big explosions, this one is for you. Plus, you get 2 of them so you can share it with a friend, But hold on, fucker, there's a third support weapon in this Warbond. The Solo Silo is a missile silo that buries itself into the ground and give you a laser designator that you can use to paint a target for the missile to launch out and land on. This missile will devastate anything it lands on, with the exception of certain buildings like stratagem jammers, and it won't, one-shot a Hive Lord or anything, but it's still really good. It can be a bit complicated to use. It's not nearly as simple as just having a support weapon that you shoot something with, but if you treat it like an expendable support weapon, like the expendable napalm or the expendable anti-tank, and use it correctly, then this thing is incredibly useful, plus the cooldown is not very long. And finally, we come to the armor passive, which is called Desert Stormer, and it has 2 perks. The first perk allows you to take 40% less damage from all elemental damage sources, which includes fire, gas, acid, and electrical damage. This is pretty good against the bugs, because they're the only faction that can actively use more than one element at once right now. Acid from the spewers and fire from the dragon roaches. So this is pretty good when you're on a hive world or a planet that's being raided by dragon roaches in general. This will actually protect you from multiple different kinds of enemies. The second perk increases your throwing distance by 20%, which is also good against the bugs because you'll have an easier time throwing your grenades into bug holes. All of the armor in this Warbond is inspired by Dune, so it gets a big thumbs up for that, from me. Dust Devils is definitely one of the best Warbonds in the entire game. You get 5 great weapons and 2 badass armor sets, making it one of the best Warbonds of 2025, if not the best Warbond of 2025. I absolutely recommend Dust Devils to new players. You will not regret buying this Warbond, especially if you're looking for some new support weapons. And we come to our last premium Warbond for now, which is Python Commandos. And this one has some really awesome stuff in it that you really can't find anywhere else. There's the 1-2 assault rifle, which is just your run-of-the-mill assault rifle with light armor pen, but it also comes with an underbarrel grenade launcher, allowing you to close up enemy spawn points very easily and, really conveniently. This thing was built to take out warp ships, I swear to God. You can shoot down the shield with your assault rifle and then quickly swap to your grenade launcher to take it out. That way you can actually save your throwable slot for something different, like an arc grenade, for example, or a seeker grenade. That's a good one. And then we have the defoliation tool, and this is by far the best melee weapon in all of Helldivers 2. This is a chainsaw that can really tear through enemies and tear through their armor. It starts out with medium armor penetration, which is nothing special, but for every second that you attack an enemy with this weapon, it gains 1 level of armor penetration, eventually getting all the way up to anti-tank penetration. Anti-tank penetration on a melee weapon. And it's a chainsaw to boot, so it's just so damn fun. So you can actually use this thing against almost anything in the game if you're good enough. That's some kind of unheard of for melee, but this thing is so fun. And it even gains demolition force as you attack with it, allowing you to destroy a variety of enemy buildings and objectives. As someone who hasn't been a fan of melee at all in the past, this weapon really impressed me and actually gave me a reason to use melee. It's so much fun to use and it's actually really good. So this weapon, so much fun. Definitely recommend it. And then there's the Maxi Gun, which is a fully portable minigun with a backpack that feeds ammo directly to the weapon. No reloading, just pure shooting, pure volume of fire. You get 750 rounds that deal some pretty good damage and penetrate medium armor. Each of the rounds is around as good as like an Adjudicator round or an MA5C round, I would say. But the thing about the Maxi Gun is that you can't move while shooting it. You need to stand still for the weapon to work. If you try and shoot while moving, you will just stand still. Technically, you can fire this weapon while diving, but you can't manually move your character and fire at the same time. This weapon has been criticized a lot for not being good enough, but I think it's alright. It could use a small buff, maybe allowing you to move slowly while shooting or adding more ammo to the backpack. But this weapon seems to be kind of overhated in my opinion. I think it's fine. And then we have the Guard Dog Hot Dog, which is exactly what you think it is. It's a guard dog equipped with a flamethrower, which is just as dangerous as it sounds. This little guy can do some massive damage to enemies. Like, he can be just as effective as a player with a flamethrower, but he can also make just as many mistakes. If you're playing in close formation with other players, then you better hope that they're wearing fire-resistant armor, because this thing will almost definitely set them on fire if they are anywhere near you. The armor passive in this Warbond is called Rock Solid, which comes with 2 perks. The first perk gives you double melee damage, which is very fitting for the defoliation tool. The second perk gives you extra resistance to being ragdolled, which is a great perk to combo with the extra melee damage. Python Commandos overall gave us a bunch of gear that we have been asking for a long time. A minigun, a chainsaw, an underbarrel grenade launcher, the hot dog, and just a lot of really fun gear. I don't know if I can recommend it to new players though. There's too many other Warbonds that you should get first, and a lot of the gear is pretty advanced and kind of complicated to use properly, like the defoliation tool. Melee is not an easy thing to use in Helldivers 2, even when you have something as good as that. So definitely get some other Warbonds first, unless you absolutely need to have a chainsaw and a minigun. Now, I have been saving the legendary Warbonds for the very end here because these are way different than the premium Warbonds. I can say upfront that I don't recommend these Warbonds to new players unless you're already attached to these franchises and you really want those crossover items. So we'll start with the ODST Warbond, which is pretty self-explanatory. For the first time in 16 years, you can finally play as an ODST again in an official product that was made in collaboration with Microsoft and Halo Studios, because they couldn't make an ODST game on their own. They needed Arrowhead to do it. This Warbond features 4 weapons: the MA5C assault rifle, the M90A shotgun, the M7S submachine gun, and the M6C SOCOM pistol. If you're a fan of Halo, then you already know what these weapons are and how they handle, because Arrowhead has done an excellent job of emulating the feel of these weapons and bringing them over to Helldivers 2. There's also 2 armor sets that will be instantly familiar to Halo fans: the A9 Helljumper and the A35 Recon. You can play as both Rookie and Dare from Halo 3 ODST with these armor sets. The only problem is that they are functionally identical. They're both medium armor, and they have the same armor passive, which is pretty unfortunate. I think Recon should have been light armor instead. But anyway, the armor passive does a great job at actually representing the ODSTs and the kind of culture surrounding them. The first perk makes you 50% quieter while moving, which makes the ODSTs some of the best stealth troops in the game, which is very fitting as ODST was the only Halo game that had any emphasis on stealth really. You can also identify POIs from further away, making this really good in crowded areas like city environments, which is super fitting for this Warbond. Just like in Halo ODST, how you have the map, you can, find little points of interest on the map. This armor passive actually helps you do that, and that's pretty fucking awesome. And the final perk makes you totally immune to leg injuries, so you'll never be limping around on a broken leg, and you'll always be able to stay on the move, so you can jump from high ledges and not break your legs. You can dive feet first, which is, I just love this Warbond personally. It's really good for fans of Halo. You also get 2 great capes that are super awesome references to Halo lore, the Rookie title, which is a great title, and a collection of vehicle patterns that are very inspired by the UNSC vehicles from the Halo games. I'm a massive fan of Halo, so I love this Warbond. It's my personal favorite Warbond in the game. But unless you're a big fan of Halo like I am, then this Warbond is not worth getting if you're new to the game. You should get a cheaper Warbond instead, something that actually is more useful. This one is just for the Halo fans. And then there's Righteous Revenants, which is the Killzone Warbond. This Warbond was made for all the Killzone fans out there. This is the only official Killzone content in over a decade, I believe. Fuck, you guys really haven't had a new game in a long time. I'm sorry. Guerrilla is way too busy making the Horizon games, I suppose. Anyways, this Warbond comes with 3 weapons: the STA-52 assault rifle, the STA-11 SMG, and the Plaz 39 accelerator rifle. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the accelerator rifle is my favorite out of these weapons. It's the only weapon here that actually feels unique when you're using it, and the other two weapons are unfortunately not as good as the other weapons in their categories. There are better assault rifles, there are better SMGs, which is kind of fucking unfortunate, really. This Warbond also comes with two armor sets, the AC-1 Dutiful and the AC-2 Obedient, which are based on the Helghast soldiers from the Killzone franchise. The AC-1 Dutiful in particular is iconic. That's the iconic, you know, red eyes, you know, assault infantry soldier from Killzone, which is great. And these armor sets are actually different too. The Dutiful is medium and the Obedient is light. So there you go, you beat the Helldivers on that one. And the armor passive in this Warbond is called Acclimated, and it protects you from all kinds of elemental damage, which makes sense because the Helghast are from a very inhospitable world, and this is a cool way of conveying that through gameplay. You also get two pretty cool capes, the title of Assault Infantry, and some awesome looking vehicle patterns. I'm not a huge fan of Killzone. I've actually never played Killzone, so I can't say how authentic this Warbond is to the games, but I'm willing to bet that it's pretty faithful. Arrowhead does seem to care a lot about getting the crossovers right, and again, I can't recommend this Warbond to new players either, unless of course you're a big fan of Killzone, and in that case, just do what makes you happy because you are not getting a new game. So just to recap, here are the Warbonds that I can fully recommend to new players. Steeled Veterans, Democratic Detonation, Viper Commandos, Servants of Freedom, Borderline Justice, Control Group, and Dust Devils, with honorable mentions going to Cutting Edge, Polar Patriots, Truth Enforcers, Urban Legends, and Python Commandos. If you want any more detailed information on each Warbond in the game, then please check out my playlist on Warbond reviews, I'll have that in the description, and also my Liberty Day video where I ranked each Warbond in a tier list. Me and my friends had a lot of fun making that video, so please check that one out as well. And I have to say, if you watched all the way from the beginning of the video, thank you, sincerely. This is my longest video by far. This kind of ballooned in scale, so thank you very, very much for watching this video. And this video is brought to you by my channel members: Swickity, ArchAngelShipyards, DirtyKnightmare, NOTSAINTT, Findas, Still Cheddar, Minuby, ASMOBIUS, INFINITUM, and Voodoo Roll. Thank you all for continuing to support the channel. It shows a lot of confidence and faith in me that you continue to support me to this degree, so I hope I'm not letting you down. I am hoping to have this video up at or around Christmas time, so from my home to yours, happy holidays, and please take some time to enjoy this stressful holiday season. And that's all I have for today, so this is Grand Moff Togan of the SES Prophet of Dawn, signing off.